If you're anything like me, then this one feature has always attracted your attention. I still remember picking up Full Spectrum Warrior and reading how the military uses it for wargaming. I always found that fascinating, as it adds so much more realism, immersion, and authenticity to a game. Now you combine that with the usage of chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear tactics, and you've really sold the game for me. The Cold War setting and usage of modern military tactics are just added benefits. So if what I'm describing sounds interesting to you, then you're going to find something to love here in Southern Storm. Southern Storm has 4 campaigns, over a dozen scenarios, and endless replayability due to its simple to use campaign and scenario editor. Player created mods are going to be hosted on the Matrix website. Disclaimer: Slytherin has provided me with this copy of Southern Storm, so please take that into consideration as I provide to you my first impressions. The first place we're going to stop is the scenario editor because it allows us to talk about several features within this game. So if we click on the scenario editor, it's going to load up a brief page, and then we're going to click down here. We're going to just click through next. You can load other scenarios if you want like fun little templates, but we're just going to keep clicking next. We're going to say standalone scenario, but the feature I want to show you is all these maps that you can use to design scenarios on. There's, I believe, almost like 40 of them, maybe a bit less. But let's just click some random scenario. As you see here, we have a water crossing, a really challenging tactical maneuver to do. So if that's something you wanted to create a scenario on or just practice, you could obviously just load up this Epinal map and then create a fun little scenario for yourself. Then we have these drag and drop icons. You can have minefields, and something that's really cool about Southern Storm is if you use like DPICM or like improvised cluster munitions, they'll plant mines on the battlefield. So you have like UXOs and unexploded ordinances on the battlefield. Then you have obstacles that you can use your combat engineers to breach and destroy. You can also move bridges on the map if you wanted to get rid of the bridges or just destroy them outright in general. So if we were to like zoom out, if we could zoom all the way as far out as we can, drag this all the way over, and then navigate. Here we have this water crossing between these two cities over here on this right-hand side. This left-hand side, I mean. So if we wanted just to put little minelets, we would drag and drop minelets right there. And now we've instantly created a neutral barrier that our forces would need to navigate. And then you could actually move units through these minefields, or you can use engineers to actually defuse the mines and create pathways for you. Now something else that's also an added feature, as you see here, we were talking about CBRNE earlier, or chemical, biological, nuclear, and radiation. We can drag actual biological, so like gas, different types of smoke, and even like a nuclear contamination zone. And then I believe also a chemical contamination zone. So each of these are going to affect your units differently. So if you wanted to create a fun little scenario with these different variables or just how to navigate the battlefield if they're already dispersed on the battlefield, then that's something you can do as well. And then obviously different types of smoke. So you can actually pre-place smoke. Let's say you had off-map artillery already barrage this area. You can say we have pre-placed multi-spectrum smoke or thermal smoke, and that's going to allow our engineers or our mechanized force to navigate across this water crossing or this bridge and secure this fortified position right here in this town. Now that just allows us to talk about the mechanics. We're going to press forward. If we click this next button, here's some additional parameters if we wanted to change like the electronic warfare intensity and what that's going to do. It's going to like slow your command communication. I'm not going to touch too much on that, so we're just going to move past it. And then here we can begin assigning our forces. So we can save and create new forces, or we can hit create force. We can name this Bravo Force if my keyboard works. Bravo Force, maximum of 24 characters. And then from here we can assign them to the United States, United Kingdom, France, Canada, West Germany. And then if we should be able to do that, we can actually, I believe we're on the NATO side, so these are our NATO forces. So once we get to the opposing side, we can actually do all the Soviets as well. So if we want to do Canada, we can click on Canada. We can begin adding units. Here you have all the different types of units that you can add, and I'm actually really enjoying this. Because if you click on each of these units, you can drag and drop them over here. We have combat engineers. Under brigade group assets, we have field artillery batteries. We can actually change those to 105 howitzers, blowpipes, javelins, SAMs, a light truck, and it gives you just different types. And that's just like a few little things. Then you have your miscellaneous units down here that you could attach to different units. You have towed anti-tank, wheeled APCs, different recons, ATGMs. Then we have our air support. If we wanted to go into more air support, if we click down, we have static FARPs, we have helicopters, we have attack helicopters. What is a C-136 Kiowas? We have, if this drops down, more. We have the Chinook, we have the Twin Chinook, we have Twin Huey, we have all kinds of weapon systems. So we would go over here. We can navigate their weapon systems. We can take a look at their sensors. So every weapon system has different sensors. They have different weapon systems. They have different ranges. And you can create these awesome, amazing scenarios. You can transport troops. You can do your AAA platoons. Then you can go all the way up to battalion level and just take a look at armored troops. We have T-55s, Leopards, C1s. Then you can go M113A1s, just hundreds and hundreds of assets in this game. So that's something we wanted to add to this scenario. Mechanized rifle, we could change the composition of this rifle platoon. We go to anti-tank platoon, we could change the composition of this anti-tank platoon. Anti-tank section, tow jeep, 106 RCL weapon system, an indirect fire gun, IFG. What sensors does it have? Here it does, it's static reticle sight, optical gun sight, slight zoom, low magnification. All of that is just important. So if we hit next, here comes the OP4. So if we want to create OP4, I don't know a good OP4 company name or force name. Please forgive me. You have Soviet OMG, so a super powerful thermal equipped Soviet force, Soviet Union, East Germany, and Czechoslovakia. So if we were to go add units under Soviet OMG, we can take a look at their air divisional assets. We can take a look at gunships, the Mi-24 Papa Hind Foxtrot. What weapon systems? It has a Ka-26. Look at that goofy little thing. ATGM, anti-tanks, rockets, different sensors, advanced tactical targeting, thermals. And that's just a spec ops battalion. You have Spetsnaz recon group, strike section, explosive, EOD. Just endless options, and the only limit is going to be your imagination. Then you can save that scenario, and it can be as small as you want it to be or as big as you want it to be. So we hit here, and it brings us right back here. So from here, we can take a look at the campaigns. You have 4 campaigns. I believe this Canadian campaign is brand new. So we take a look at that. That's one of the newer campaigns, if that's something. And they should be dynamic and persistent. So as you lose forces throughout your campaign, they're going to be missing as the campaign goes on. Then if you click on scenario, here are all your scenarios. You have different sizes: large, small, medium, large, extra large, XXXL. Then you have Canadian if you just wanted to play the new cross-checking campaign or new scenario. This is obviously all going to be new to Steam players, but if you did update your Flashpoint campaigns, these scenarios would be available to you. So now since we're on Steam, we're going to click proceed. Then obviously there's play by email or PBEM++. Each campaign should have up to 4 different battle tactics or battle positions. So that adds just a bit of playability to each campaign, so you'll never know which one you're going to get. So if we say we want to start with battle position 1, we're going to be playing as the NATO commander. We're going to click next. We're just going to leave it on recruit. We're going to have everything visible because I think that's really important for our first impression, so we can talk about what assets on the battlefield and what tactics we can use on the battlefield. So we click proceed. It's going to load up, and as it initializes, we're going to zoom out. And it's going to give us a brief little introduction to the cross-checking campaign or scenario. You are commanding a NATO force and you have 4 hours to accomplish the mission described in your scenario briefing. Your forces are composed of 11 groups of units, extensive descriptions. All right, so it's just telling us to go to the briefing. Here's our briefing right here. Fighting yesterday was fierce. The Soviets threw the 242nd Motor Rifle Regiment into the fray, trying to find a way through the Canadian defense. However, the 2nd Princess's Patricia Canadian Light Infantry, PPCIL, let me know if that's an actual name, battalion was able to stop them. Around 09, the Soviets gave up, pulled back from A81 Autobahn towards Tübingen and Rodenburg. Later in the day, the Canadians attacked at Rodenburg, seized the bridges over the Neckar River, and then moved forward towards the picket remnants of the 244. Here's our victory conditions. Obviously, we don't want to lose a lot of forces. We kind of just want a decisive win, but that's just easy to say, more challenging to do. Here's our operation. If we click on this operation, it gives us our map overlay. So here's our general forces down here, the PPCIL, the Princess Patricia Division. Here's our main 2 victory points. We're trying to re-secure this water crossing point. We do have units over here on this left-hand side, so we have a little bit of an L shape. So what that means is we're going to attack them on their flanks. Under engineering, there's nothing really interesting under engineering at this moment in time. Here's our actual situation report. What resources are available? So we have, what aircraft are these? Aircraft Rose Flight, 82 kilometers Wolf off map. So they're pretty far off the map. These are Charlie Foxtrot 18 Hornets, so F-18 Hornets. And then here's everything we have. If we wanted more menus upon map overlays. And we can actually print that out if that's something you wanted to do if you're really, really getting into it. Fire support, here's all our fire support on and off map artillery. Tons and tons and tons of fire support for this small operation. And then intel. So obviously there's so if you want to create after action reports, there's just tons of intel. So you're obviously not going to go into like a fight without knowing a little bit about your enemy. However, these are not like 100% correct. So we have like 1 to 10 reconnaissance subunits, 1 to 10 tanks, 30 to 40 armored carriers, 30 to 40, 20 to 30. So a really wide range. And then if we wanted to see how many units we have killed right now. So a good little threat assessment. So we hit close. We hit proceed. Thanks for the good luck. We always need that. And then if you're playing like PBM or whatever you wanted to play, we can left click to drag along the mouse or the map, see what we can see. And it's forward to zoom out. It's always a bit backwards. Here's all our regiments or companies over here. Here's our situation report that we haven't really done much with. And we could move units closer to this battle if we just really wanted to go extremely aggressive on them. Here's our leopards, I believe, is what we're using. And then here's the enemy scattered around. You can hide all of this so you don't really know, but we obviously know where these guys are at. So we're going to zoom right back on in. We're going to do a quick little assessment of the situation. We need to capture these 2 points right here. We do have a small mechanized force. Crossing this bridge is going to be extremely challenging, so our best bet is probably just to push these units off. But we don't really want to like allow them to fortify that position. So maybe we can kind of do like a joint attack where we attack on this flank and try and hook into this back line and push them off both objectives at the same time. Easier said than done, and we can kind of do the same over here on this left flank. We could move all these units closer if that's something we desire to do, and then just slowly push everyone up. There's a lot more mechanics to this game that I'm not super talking about, things like line of sight, things like command ranges, airstrikes, lines of sight, vision, electronic warfare. There's just hundreds of topics we could talk about in this game. And that's not to mention like our standard operating procedures we can bring up. We can adjust like all these units' standard operating procedures. We can have them be closer to the road where they're going to move faster. For our SOPs, we can have them decide how many casualties we want them to take. Do we ever want them to not take casualties? Do we want them to take hundreds of casualties? Do we want them to stand their ground? Those sorts of questions. So we're just going to slowly move everyone up, try and decide exactly what we want to do, and just figure out. I'm just going to put all these units up on the good lines of sight so we can begin hammering away down at that enemy. I don't really want to drive through this little killing field right here. I'm not quite sure what this unit's equipped with, so if I were to like right click and go unit description, if I can find him, unit dashboard, it tells us all the subunits, it tells us what he's equipped with. So if we come over here, we have light mortar, explosive rounds, 5.62, so he's not really good at anti-tank. But if we click on this unit right here, this is our main tank. We're going to take a look at our subunits, Leopard, Charlie 1, Alpha 1s, 105 medium tank cannons. So we need to be really careful. We kind of want to keep these guys on the move. We don't want to sacrifice them right off the bat. And I'm going to try and keep them together. But I'm going to have our infantry honestly move in a bit more because I don't want these tanks just to be absolutely just assaulted. You know what I mean? And then these guys are right where they need to be. So quick little assessment. So we know what we're going to do. We're going to push hard up the middle. We're going to push hard on this flank. And we're going to try and sweep around and just do this massive assault all at once. And these units are exactly where they need to be. We can kind of move that one closer. This is the one I wonder if I want to move a bit closer. And we could delay them a bit, right? We have 4 hours to conduct this operation, so 4 hours in-game time. I believe our first turn is like 5 minutes, so it's nothing crazy. So if we wanted to issue our first order is what we need to do. We're going to work to secure these ridges. None of these really have a lot of range, so we just need to be really careful. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to close, click off. We're going to click start. And we're just going to I don't really want to do too much. We didn't issue any orders that turn. We're just going to kind of let the AI move. We should have grabbed our artillery and set a few things up. So we want to move deliberate or move hasty. There is a difference between those two. We're going to say commit. We're never going to hold at this moment in time because we're on the assault. If we hold, what that's going to do, it's going to put us in a really bad position. And it's going to stop our units from like getting engaged into combat. So we just want to push forward, move along these routes, get good lines of sight. So if we wanted to take a look at line of sight, if I remember correctly how to pull it up, Control L, we can hit Control L. Click right there, or click this unit. For some reason, line of sight, range finders, let's just move some units into position. Move hasty. I would like to see some like. Well, he's got to move. He's going to expose himself to that, so we're not going to do that, right? That's not something we want to do. We're going to delete that waypoint. We're just going to move forward 1. And since we're just moving forward, I don't want him to like go up this hill and expose his flank. Not that it really matters. We're going to try and get up on these lines of sight, provide fire support down in the battlefield, and just slowly. No, absolutely not. Who was doing that silly stuff? We're going to delete that. Absolutely. So he can't move up onto that position, which is super unfortunate. So he's going to provide fire support for our infantry while they move forward. Our infantry is slowly going to press forward as well. We're not going to go too much into the mechanics of changing our SOPs. It keeps doing that. And we're going to screen. So here's our first couple of moves. That's perfectly fine. Nothing absolutely crazy. I kind of want to drag that one a bit more forward. We're going to hit play, and we're going to play through another turn. See if we can get to some combat. Our weather's changing. Changing weather changes our line of sight, things like that. They're moving their artillery around. We can't stay moved, otherwise their artillery will start to fall on us. Slowly moving people into position. This is our artillery right here, so we're going to move them way forward, and we're going to put them on call. So just in case our units need any artillery, that's exactly what they're going to do. We're going to begin moving hasty right up this road. Stay within this town. We're going to stay in screen. Remember, if you ever do anything deliberate or hold, it's going to take 30 minutes for that to do something. That's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. And we're just going to keep stacking. I think those are fine, perfectly good moves. Let's come over here this left-hand side. And let's start advancing down this high. This does look to be like an anti-tank unit, so we need to be careful as we approach. Our units could get absolutely demolished. So let's just start moving up. Couple of units at a time. We're going to just move right there. And this looks to, what is this? This is, what are you? We're going to try and get you in some tree lines. What do you do? I wish it would show the pathing like before, like when you selected something. I kind of wanted to show the pathing before. That's a terrible move. So it stops you from making mistakes like that, is what I would really like to see. So we're almost an hour in, like 20 minutes. So we're kind of going really slow about this. Tanks in position. Everyone's moving in slowly but surely. Remember, there's no rush. I mean, this is a Cold War game. It's highly lethal. We're at 0420 right now. We have till 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to begin this assault. So let's grab if we can locate him. I turned on something. Modified combined obstacle. All right, where's our artillery? Should be an O. He's still moving. Let's see if we can have him target something. I want him to just try and push this unit out of our way. So let's go barrage, suppression. Drag this down. Close that. We're not going to edit that SOP. We're going to commit. Here's all our things for our suppression. 30 out of 100, 602 rounds. We're not going to change that at all. That's perfectly fine for me. And we're going to begin dropping mortars on that. I think that's a really good decision for us. Here's our line of sight. Here's everything that we can see right here with this unit. Here's all our line of sights with this unit. So we should be able to see. If we move up one more hex, we're going to be in combat. So let's move hasty. Move forward 1, commit, screen. Move forward 1. That's like driving me nuts. Move forward 1, commit. We're going to hold right there. Tank needs to move forward as well. Stack over here, commit, screen. He wants to move back across that bridge. We're not going to change that. That's going to waste a lot of time. Since we have an assaulting force, we're just going to move forward 1. Commit, screen. All right, we're going to hit Control L, turn all these back off. As he moves forward. All right, so that unit's going to continue to press forward. All these units are moving forward. Everyone's mounting up. No reason to really do too much. Lost a bit of line of sight on that. These guys are moving down. We're going to extend them a little bit. Extend him a little bit. Extend him down to here. And that should start doing some good stuff for us. So we need to decide how we want to, we're going to cancel. So we're going to run right up this middle, I think. We're going to try and drive that unit off that position. So I think that's a really good decision. Oh, look at all these awesome tanks we have. I don't want to bring these tanks up until let's go move hasty. Commit. Screen. We're going to drag that over, and I want him to come right up here. Just like that, because there's no reason for us to come along that back side. Let's play through another turn. 20 minutes. All right, there's our first engagement. ATGM launched. We are dismounting at this moment. He looks like he's targeting our tanks. We knew that was going to happen. We want our infantry to be in position. All right, just like that, ATGM launch. Now we're getting some good little contact going on. We are pushing forward. We should easily be able to drive these units off, but I was hoping our infantry would get in contact long before our tanks get in contact. So it's scooting, so he's instantly moving off that position. We're moving forward. ATGM launch, continuing to push that unit off. That's absolutely fantastic. All right, man, we can't afford losing these tanks. He's just too close. I'm glad we're suppressing him a little bit, trying to drive him off. Or whether it's changing. We should have mortars falling. There's our mortars finally showing up. They did push our little armored assault back. They are on that objective. There are a lot of casualties. We were expecting contact right there, so he is getting pushed off. We knew there was an ATGM team there. We had eyes on. So even though we have all these eyes on, now we need to figure out how to navigate around them, which is something really hard. Now it's their turn. They're hitting us with lots and lots of artillery. The Soviets are definitely known for their artillery, so it's just something we're going to have to deal with. But these units should scoot off. They shouldn't just sit there and take the pounding. Let's see what they do. All right. Looks like they're engaging us over here on this left-hand side with more ATGMs. We were pushed off that little objective, so our one little first armored assault didn't go as well as we wanted it to. Artillery is now falling on that spot that we scooted off. Remember, that's why we didn't have that hold, because if we had a hold there, they would have stayed there and just took that pounding. 8 minutes left for these guys' turn. Units continuing to push forward. We should begin engaging that ATGM unit. They are wasting a lot of shells on that position. All right, moving forward. Artillery falling on that. Should scoot off. Hopefully they don't get hit too hard. We don't get too many casualties racking up. So they're probably going for neutralization instead of suppression, whereas I went for suppression. All right, they moved off their position as well. And it kind of turns into this artillery game, which is super, can be insanely entertaining, especially if you're like super lucky with it and they stumble into it. But if you're having a bad time, you're going to be having a bad time. So we move forward. That's one thing you always need to be careful of, because they'll like move from one artillery position to another artillery position, and you're like, bro, my luck cannot be that bad. So if he would have like scooted from here to here, it would have just been an absolute nightmare, or like vice versa. All right, it does look like we did discover what looks to be a little obstacle right there. So that's really interesting. All right, we're still moving lots of units around. 1 minute left. Artillery, so we need to make sure all our units have move orders because they are looking to get us. And that was probably an on-call strike. And that was more, I'm thinking maybe on-call, or maybe those are more directed. All right, and we'll play through one little turn, and there's our on-call artillery. We'll take a look at what fire support we have available, because I believe we do have AAA up. Or not AAA, aircraft. All right, it's now our turn. We've kind of created a bit of space here for us. We're pushing them back, so I really think like our artillery is our best bet. And we need to just continue to just hammer away at them. So if we right-click this unit and we say barrage, and this time we're going to go for nuclearizing. Let's see if we can get rid of that unit. That's perfectly fine. We're going to say 30. We can actually take this up to 30 is fine because it's going to push him off, so we don't want to waste those rounds. We could, if we wanted to take a look at our fire support, if I remember how to get down to fire support. Please forgive me if I don't. Counters, fire support, where are you? Right here. Fire support, FS. So here's all our fire support. Let's see what we can track down. Oh my goodness. Where's my off-map fire support? It's been so long since I've done this. Please forgive me. F8. Wait time withdraw within 40 minutes. That's not good for us. Give me one moment. Multi-layer terrain options, unit overlay, staff, scenario, personnel, fire support. Thank you. But we know all that. No targeting report available. Fire support control center, fire missions. He's currently on active 30 rounds. Okay. So we can actually put him on call. We can say barrage, neutralizing. Wouldn't that be cool? We want him right here. So let's do this little artillery battle. We're going to say commit. We're going to say that's cool. I'm going to navigate all these menus for us. Is that okay, guys? Menu, barrage, neutralize. Let's do suppression. Drag this down. Get everyone out of our face. Please. Do we have a third fire support? We do. Menu, we're going to say I want this guy like neutralized. Commit. Oh, we got to. I always make that mistake. Close that. Barrage, neutralizing. Drag this down, and it's this guy right here we want neutralized. He's really going to slow us down a lot. So let's get rid of him. Scroll down, and we do have this guy. So let's do a little airstrike. Let's see if we can demonstrate an airstrike. Let's really try and get this command unit off. It's really deep behind their lines. Let's see what we can do. All right, so we have lots of air assets, lots of artillery coming into play right now. So we're attempting to break this front line, push them back. Our left flank isn't doing too hot. We're going to move him up. Commit. Screen. And we're going to move up one more and just begin this battle. We really, really need to cycle these things. This is our main effort. This just shows line of sight. And let's just wait for that unit to move. Remember, we never want to stay in one spot right now. Because if we stay in that one spot, we're going to get absolutely hammered by artillery. So let's do that. So let's finish taking this ridge line. Artillery is going to move. Our tanks need to move as well. And you're just going to pull off. We're just going to completely abandon that middle assault. Actually, yes. Move hasty. We're going to pull back. Perfectly fine. We're going to wait for our artillery to hit. And you're going to move hasty right up the middle. What happens if we go there? That's fine. That's going to keep our unit on the move, and it's going to allow us to move. Let's step down, push forward, see if we can get to this town right here. Screen. Move hasty. We have no one really providing fire support for us, which is super, super duper unfortunate. All right, let's play out this turn, see what artillery we can get. 19 minutes, so we should have lots of artillery falling. All right, ATGM's out, ATGM out, so we're hitting them with some heavy artillery. Tanks engaging. All right, they're engaging that tank, which is why we're pulling them back. BMP Hex was destroyed right there, so we're definitely putting a lot of pressure on him. Remember, we have lots of artillery falling. They're ATGMing our mechanized units. Hopefully they dismount and don't sacrifice themselves. Scooting, so he's moving off. All right, so we're continuing to push forward. So that's really interesting that this is blocked. I'm glad we didn't go that way. That's not a way I really wanted to go. All right, lots of firepower onto that one infantry. I believe there's 5 little platoons right there. It could be platoons, could be divisions, could be regiments. It's all varied. All right, so that artillery that's going to fall right there is going to be super unfortunate, but that's perfectly fine. All right, there's our, I believe that's our off map. I didn't zoom out. We should, if we click around, we could find it. All right, there's our ATGMs. We are expecting them. And there's our neutralizing artillery. We really want to drive that German vehicle off this map. So hopefully they scoot off that. Remember, if they scoot 1 hex, our airstrike will still hit. So that's something we really need to consider because our airstrikes, I believe, are going to be like a 1 hex by 1 hex. So if he just even backs up 1 or moves over 1, that airstrike's still going to hit. 14 minutes left. Let's see what we get. All right, these guys are mounting up and pushing back. Where's that artillery falling? Yep, more neutralizing artillery. All right, it looks like they're mounted up. Maybe that ATGM squad was finally destroyed, so that's just going to really open up this area and allow us to push on this left flank. more neutralizing artillery. Like I said, man, modern military definitely relies on artillery. So if you're like into modern military sims, then this is for you. We should have planned our artillery better. So like right here, if we knew this unit was going to scoot back, I feel like that's a bit off. I didn't want to hit anyone there. All right, there was that scoot. He's still within range of our aircrafts, our F-18s, Charlie Foxtrots. All right, we're still hammering away at that position. Super unfortunate. There's that neutralizing strike right there. They were reduced by 50%, so that is something to make note of. The following, we got more reinforcements. Remember, we can start we have so much artillery on our side. So we're just going to go full artillery mode here in a moment and just artillery, and just try and push everyone off this hex. I mean, we can even start breaking this back line. Do you think that would be better? Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoy military strategy, tactics, and doctrine, and like seeing applied to strategy games, I guarantee this is the right channel for you. So make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, we are able to view these units right now because we can. We turned it on, and that's something we really wanted to do. All right. Oh, wow. They got a really good neutralizing strike right there on one of our units. That's super unfortunate. This left flank's being really hammered just because of this one ATGM team. All right, remember, we're pulling off, and we're really pushing hard on that left flank. They are still hitting that artillery, so this unit is a bit separated, and that's a really strong, what's that, 7 strength platoon? Oh, and they are hammering them. All right, moving forward, moving back. And honestly, since we know where everyone's at, we could just be hitting their like main command sections, which is fine. I guess we could do that. That's not something I really wanted to do. That's why it's better to hide these, and then you can kind of play the game of where's the command section. But that's just going to be cheesing it since we know where it's at. ATGM out. Should degrade them a little bit. They lost 1 BMP, so we know they have 6 or 7 BMPs there. I believe that arrow means they're an ATGM team, so that's just important to know. More artillery on that one spot. We really need to adjust that barrage because it's just hammering away. I believe we have 30 rounds falling. And we are closing. We're like closing in. We're just readjusting our forces, and we're breaking with artillery. So it's just an artillery shootout. All right, 3 minutes left. I was hoping our airstrike would come in. Maybe it's a bit delayed. I thought it said 5 minutes, but maybe it's delayed by 40. Let's see. ATGM out. So the enemy is really going to be reduced on this right-hand side. We have a significant force right there, and then once they're like pushed back over here, we're just going to pinch them and push them off. And then we have this left flank that's really closing in. Command unit is moving. Ooh, that's a good little artillery strike. That's our other one that we called in. Fantastic. 1 minute left of this turn. And we're not even within the first hour, and we just have casualties piling up. I think that's something to bring up about like modern military or modern combat is the casualties are really going to mount. You can see that over in like the UKR, Russia, when they're going to do these front lines assault, they rely super heavily on artillery, which is something we should have done since we knew where everyone was at. We should have just been like artillery, move forward, infantry up, tanks behind them, artillery, and just grind our way through this front line. All right, now, like I said, if you enjoy military strategy, tactics, and doctrine, like seeing applied to strategy games, this is the right place for you. So make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, my first impressions are, man, I really, really enjoy Flashpoint campaigns. Southern Storm, Red Storm, I think it brings a lot. You do fight over victory points. And yeah, I enjoy it. I got it for free, and I hope you guys like it. Peace out.